Good morning, my dear students. We are going to learn chapter 10 Outlaws, Billy the Kid, and Clyde Barrow. Billy the Kid and Clyde Barrow were notorious American criminals who lived in the last 19th century and early 20th century, respectively. This poem is about them. Billy the Kid is one of the most notorious Wild West outlaws. That is very impressive because he had to fit all his outlawing into just 21 years of life. People falsely accused him for a lot of crimes, the crimes he never committed. He never robbed a bank or a train, and Billy did not even kill many people. But perhaps the most striking things about the life of Billy the Kid was just how sad it was. From his birth in New York City to being orphaned at a young age to the fact that the opportunity for a different, happy, and successful life kept getting snatched away from him. According to Billy the Kid, a short and violent life, his mother Catherine was an Irish immigrant to New York City. Billy probably spent the first 6 years of his life in the Irish slum. The life in that slum was very horrific and painful. There was no enough food and a good shelter for them. Billy was lucky to survive it all. Bonnie Elizabeth Parker and Clyde Barrow were an American criminal couple who traveled in central United States with their gang during the Great Depression, known for their bank robberies. Although they preferred to rob small stores or rural gas stations. Their exploits captured the attention of the American press. The way they committed the crime took the attention of the American press. They were believed to have murdered at least 9 police officers and 4 civilians. The press made a different portrait of these two people, especially of Parker. She was the partner of Barrow. Parker briefly kept a diary early in 1929 when she was 18, in which she wrote of her loneliness, her impatience with life in Dulles, and her love of taking pictures. When Clyde Barrow and Parker met together, Barrow was 20 years old and Parker was 19. They met together, they fell in love, and they lived a life together. When they lived together, they committed a lot of robberies and murders. Both Billy and Clyde grew up in extreme poverty. Clyde Barrow, with his partner Bonnie Parker, traveled across the USA with their gang, looting banks and carrying out small robberies during the Great Depression in between 1929 and 1939, a period of several economic crises. The duo was caught and jailed several times, eventually dying in a shootout. Billy the Kid, the real name is Henry McIntyre, was an orphan who became an outlaw at a very young age. He got involved in a conflict between rival cattle owners, swearing revenge on those who had killed the owners who had employed him. He was killed in a shootout by the sheriff while on the run with his gang. So this poem is discussing about two notorious American criminals, those who meet together and discuss something and run away. They both grew up in extreme poverty. Their extreme poverty made them criminals. Poverty and other life situations compelled them to become criminals. So here in this poem, we will meet Billy the Kid and Clyde Barrow meeting together. They both are traveling to a better life. Billy rode on a Pinto horse. Billy the Kid I mean. And he met Clyde Barrow riding in a little grey machine. So here two notorious American criminals, Billy the Kid and Clyde Barrow, is meeting together. Billy is riding a Pinto horse and Clyde Barrow is driving in his car. A little grey machine stands for car and Pinto horse stands for a horse marked with patches of white and black or another dark color. Billy drew his bridle rein and Barrow stopped his car, and the dead man talked to the living man under the morning star. When they met together, they stopped and they talked under the morning star. Billy said to the Barrow boy, Is this the way you ride in a car that does its 90 per machine guns at each side? I only had my pinto horse and my 6 gun tried and true. I could shoot, but they got me, and someday they will get you. Billy is asking to Clyde Barrow, are you driving in a car that does its 90 per machine guns at each side? And he regrets that he got only a pinto horse and 6 gun. He tried and true, but he didn't shoot at the police. They got him, and he is warning, someday they will get you too. For the men who live like you and me are playing a losing game, and the way we shoot or the way we ride is all about the same. Here Billy is saying to Clyde Barrow that they both had the same life, and the end of their lives also be same. And the like of us may never hope for death to set us free. For the living are always after you, and the dead are after me. Billy the Kid is saying that the notorious criminals like them may never hope for death to set them free. For the livings are always after you, and the dead are after me. Then out of the east arose the sound of hoofbeats with the dawn, and Billy pulled his rein and said, I must be moving on. When they were discussing about their life and poverty and their destination, they heard a sound from the east. Hoofbeats stands for the sound made when an animal's hoof hits the ground. Meanwhile, Billy pulled his rein and said, I must be moving on, and he moved. And out of the west came the glare of a light and the drone of a motor's song, and Barrow set his foot on the gas and shouted back, so long. From the west, an image of a light drawing closer, and they heard of one another vehicle, a low, continuous and dull noise of a car. That time Barrow made his vehicle go faster, and Barrow shouted back, so long. So into the east Clyde Barrow rode, and Billy into the west, the living man who can know no peace, and the dead who can know no rest. These two people's life is without peace and without rest, and this poem is portraying their hard life, the life of poverty, the life of crimes.